well, unfortunately, a few little gremlins have crept in with Tayla Mac, and so we're back in the southern part of Africa, and we're still struggling with our leopard tracks this morning. They're just tracks going in all crisscrossing directions, but no actual signs of them. We've checked all the likely leopard places, and there's not really much happening at any of them, so a little bit unsure as to where to go next. I think what we might do is just give the area a little bit of a break, given that there's lots of monkeys and various other things around, and then we'll head back into it a little bit later. So for now we're going to probably head out over to Chitwa. I'll get it out eventually, and hopefully my kingfisher is not going to fly away either. Oh no, it did fly away. Of course it would. It seems like it's going to be one of those mornings where I'm going to have trouble getting anything on camera this morning. Let's just see. Now it was a brown hooded kingfisher that we had, but it's not really visible anymore. It's in a really deep, thick place, and MVM's going to struggle to find it in that. So let's rather carry on. But like I say, the leopards seem to be all kind of hiding this morning. I don't know where they actually are and why we're not getting anywhere with them. Oh, there's a little baby Nyala. Hello, little baby Nyalas. Lots of little Nyalas. There's a very small baby right in the front that's disappearing at the moment. It's unfortunately not really visible. There it is. There's a little one. It's probably, I suppose, not tiny. There it is. Actually, there's the tiny one behind. Look how small it is. Super cute. And that little one, unfortunately, is going to have a tough time of it out here. It's not going to be easy to survive in this predator-rich environment, as when you are that size. It is absolutely minuscule in comparison to everybody else, and it seems as though it's doing okay. There's at least got lots of eyes and ears to help it out, to spot things, but that's what most of our leopards will be targeting, is small little Nyala like that. Why are you all so skittish? Maybe it's with us sitting here for a while, but you can see lots of them all spread out. Looks like all females. I don't even see any young males. There's none of them that are starting to tinge brown. So just a nice big group of females, and you can see they're heading from the higher areas where they would have spent the night. Now they're heading down into the low thickets in drainage lines where they can get a nice bit of shade, also towards Twin Dam's area where there's probably a bit of water that they can drink as well. Very nice. Tom, you say it's so easy for them to hide in the bush. It is. Well, all the animals out here, they have some sort of camouflage that allows them to blend in with their environment and make them hidden, whether they're a predator or a prey animal. So everybody's got some sort of pattern or technique or coloration that helps them with trying to stay sort of secretive and try and stay hidden from one another. And an obvious reason why is because, you know, if you're a predator, you can't be walking around and be seen and be exposed, and you know that's not going to work very well. And if you're a prey animal, the same thing is, you don't want to be attracting attention to yourself too much out here, because, well, then predators investigate, and that's that. So it's a case where everybody kind of blends as well as they can. And I mean, things like leopards are masters at it, and if they don't really want to be found, they won't be. So you'll have a situation where some leopards, just even if they're the most relaxed individuals, there's some days they just don't want to be seen. They hear a car coming and they'll sneak off into a thicket and lie down there. I know we have this thing where they're very relaxed, but I've seen some of the most relaxed leopards, when they hear vehicles, just starting to move off, and the only reason I've seen it is because I've seen them around camps, and they don't really know that you're watching them, and you can see them walking, and as soon as a vehicle starts coming, they're just into a thicket and moving off and gone. I mean, Salahesh used to do it, and she was one of the most relaxed leopards I've been around. I mean, I've seen her lying underneath vehicles. So some days they just probably don't feel like it. It's like us as people. We have bad days and good days, and maybe some days we just don't feel like having people all around us, and so we go and kind of be reclusive in our house. And I would imagine leopards are a very similar animal in that regard, is that I honestly do believe that it's sometimes they just are not in the mood to be seen, and they hear a vehicle and they just go into a deep thicket where they know it will be difficult for you to find them, and maybe you do find them and they deal with it, but otherwise for the most part they can try and just kind of sneak around and get through all the densest places in order to hide away from you. So I'm a firm believer that leopards are that way inclined. But I think let's head towards Chitwa and just go and try and find any sign of Tumba there, maybe we get lucky with him. He was so full last night that I don't think he would have headed too far. I might be wrong, of course, you never know. Tundi moving southwards from Torchwood side towards Chitwa might have triggered him to move a little bit, I don't know, but let's go and have a look anyway and just see. It also sounds like two males from the Birminghams went south into Chitwa, and if they walked over the dam wall, you can be sure that Tumba would have made himself very scarce in that area, and so that also might have pushed him away. But it's worth going to go have a look. At least we have a starting point and we know where we can go from there. Hopefully he's still lying somewhere in the shade of that area. It is starting to get a lot warmer now, and so I would imagine any of the cats that are or were moving are going to start slowing down quite quickly and start kind of getting into a situation where they're going to be a lot more sort of relaxed and lying in some sort of shady section. Ah, there's a little woodpecker just on the terminalia there, so I'm not sure which woodpecker it is, so I need to go back a bit. It flew away. Oh no, it looked like it could be either a Bennett's or a golden tailed. I didn't really get a good look at it. I was just reaching for my binoculars to see it, but it seems as though, like I say, everything doesn't want to be on camera today. They're flying away, they're not being very cooperative at all. That's okay though, we'll find something at some point that will be a lot more cooperative and hopefully give us some sort of sign or some sort of sighting. Right, well, we're going to carry on towards Chitwa and see what we can find around that area. At least the dam will be pretty, but I believe Tayla has stumbled across some very sleepy, snoozy kitties.
Right, so we're back with our lions. We're not going to stay here though. They're very far away and hidden about in the thicket. There's a lion, the third lion on the right hand side. When I look with my binoculars, it's as far as the camera can zoom in, it looks like that lion is quite big and also has a bit of a mane. I can see a little bit of a black patch. You can't see it though, unfortunately. So I wonder if that's not Scar in there, just laying next to those females. I'm not entirely sure though. Like I said, no off-roading allowed, and, well, there's only so much we can see. So I think we'll go and try and find some other lions. But if this is the area that he's in, that's good, because what we will do... Hang on. There's some warthogs running. Are you going to run straight towards those lions? Because if they run straight towards those lions, they might get up. A family of pigs. That would entice a cat to wake up from its slumber. Just want to have a quick look. I'm going to stop just up around the next bend. They haven't seen it yet. They're not showing any interest. Just a little bit more. So I'm just trying to get both animals in the shot here. So there's the piggies over there, and there's two adults and two or three youngsters, just hiding in the grass. Very stirred by the wind, and then the lions over there, one has still got their head up, but the other girl that was sitting out in the open, she doesn't have her head up, and they're looking the wrong way. Look right, look right, look right. You've got water, you've got bacon, baby bacon, bakelets running towards you. You might be interested. No, they haven't seen them. They're staring across the river, which is a bit silly. Don't look that way, look the other way. I also don't know what pride this is. It could be the Paradise Pride. It also could be a pride of lions that hangs around Serena. I've seen them not too far away from here, maybe about 2 kilometers away. At this distance, it's almost impossible to tell. So I think this afternoon we'll be coming back here, unless they decide right now to stand up and come towards us. Then, of course, we'll hang about. But the pigs now are walking in that direction. They're very, very slowly going that way. They obviously have absolutely no idea that the lions are around. Oh. But you are lucky, warthogs. You're lucky the lions have not seen you. Now, KV, who is a new viewer, congratulations. I hope that you become addicted to Safari Live, just like the rest of us are. You're wondering if lions will really eat these. Yes, they absolutely love warthogs. particularly these little tasty ones, because they're very easy to catch. Unfortunately, they're not quite as quick as the adults, and their inexperience leads them to making wrong turns and often getting separated from mom. And now the thing that you need to do when you are a warthog and you're that small is stay next to mom's side, because females, I cannot tell you how feisty they are, and they will try and protect their young. So I've seen warthogs charging at lions and leopards and before, and they'll do it to cheetah, they'll do it to a lot of different species that try and mess with their youngsters if they can turn and charge them. And sometimes it is enough, it just gives the predator a fright, going, whoa, that doesn't happen often. Prey doesn't normally fight back like that, and it could give them a chance to get away. I think, I'm just looking with my binoculars, so I apologize. Let's see. Yeah, the one lioness is actually turned and half-heartedly looking towards him. She doesn't seem like she's too engaged. So she's staring off. There we go. That's a bit better. See, she's sort of sat a bit more upright. See, she's going to tell everybody else, hey, breakfast is here. The delivery people are here. Maybe. She's probably checking. We're going to pay cash or card. No, she's fast asleep. And she was the one initially that was looking around. I think these warthogs are wary though. And I don't blame them with this wind. Because they're not sure. They walk, they stop, they smell. They're obviously trying to pick up a scent, but I think it'll be swirling at the moment. So maybe they're getting the odd scent of the lion that's coming towards them, and they're wondering where it is. They would have a very good opportunity now to hunt these warthogs. They wouldn't have to come out into the open. They could hug along the sort of rocky outcrop and use the trees, and then just lay in wait. And then it won't take much to catch a little piglet. They'll probably, I mean, for the amount of lions that are there, they need to catch an adult, because one little piglet is going to cause a big fight amongst the lions. But you'll be very, they will have no idea. They'll stand no chance, unfortunately. But also very nervous, even at a young age. Just keeping an eye out. But no one's making a move just yet. But this is what happens, is that lions will just rest like this, keeping out of the wind, you know, enjoying themselves after a long night of walking around. And the amount of time that the prey ends up coming towards them, I think, is a lot more than we actually realize. Aria, you are wondering why on earth does a warthog go down on its knees like that? Look at that little baby piglet's tongue. Oh, that's so cute. I don't think I've ever seen a little warthog tongue. Oh, no, I have. I had a warthog. So basically the reason why they go down like that is that it's a more effective way of eating. So often what you'll find is that a warthog's knees, if you will, become quite calloused to allow them to move around that rough terrain and not sort of hurt themselves. So feeding down at that level is a lot more effective than standing up, and then they'll just crawl about like that. And now that all the little ones are going to the luxury facilities. Lions, you have a good opportunity, and I feel as though you're wasting your time today. We're watching them slowly. But remember, with hunts, it doesn't normally happen straight away. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer for them to prepare it. Of course, you don't want to go off too soon and exhaust yourself, and then an even better opportunity comes around, but you don't have enough energy to go and hunt. So that's what they will try and avoid. So I'm sure they sit and they think, what are the chances of us going after this? Okay, they're fairly good, right? Let's make an attempt. And of course, I'm just speculating. I don't know what goes through a lion's head, and it's impossible for any of us to know what goes through their minds. But she's definitely keen. We can only just observe and try and read her body language. Yeah, they keep edging away around that corner. See how she's become more interested now, that head twitching? Because they're running towards the rocky terrain. I just hope they don't go all the way in, because if those lions do decide to go and hunt down there in the rocks, we're going to miss it, which will be very sad. And just because it would be nice to watch something from start to finish. They know there's something here, but they keep looking in the wrong direction. That sow keeps looking to the left. That's not the way you need to be looking, girl. Maybe there's somebody else hiding in the bushes too. But you can see she's standing up. The rest of the lions still fast asleep. They have not paid any attention to this girl's movements. But it only takes one before they'll all eventually join in. Still quite far away though, unfortunately. She wouldn't be able to catch them from this distance. She needs to get right up close. She's actually quite exposed though, the way she's sitting like that. It's very obvious, but maybe the warthogs will think that she's a rock, because there are a couple of rocks that are that colour too. But we'll sit here and we are going to see what happens between warthogs and the very curious lions. I'm going to, well, send you away just for a little bit to Tristan to see if he's going to have any luck with all the cat tracks he's seen this morning.
So Tayla obviously got a little bit confused there because I am not Tristan. So you'll be getting an update from him a little bit later. We are just arriving down at the Mara River now. And I don't think Tayla made it this far. So there is a chance that Scar could be lurking somewhere around here. Let's go and take a look what's happening down on the river's edge. Now, I didn't do it. You'd like to know if there are any flowers that bloom here in the Mara, and yes, there certainly are. The one that I've noticed more than any others is a little white flower that grows very low on the ground, and it's typically after a lot of rains. We saw them first on the opposite side of the river, and then after we got better rains on this side of the river, we also saw them popping up here. So some little white flowers have been seen, and a few others. There were some crinum lilies that popped up about a week ago, just before I headed off, also after some heavy rains. I haven't seen any of them this morning, so they could have already wilted out. And it'll be interesting to see in the coming weeks and months how many more flowers do pop up. Let's see if we can get you a better view of what's going on along the river here. Very good. I get my binoculars out for a scan. At first glance, I cannot see too much, but crocodiles can blend in very well. Oh, there's a whole bunch of hippos there. Well done, Dave. I thought those were rocks. They're all looking very, very sleepy and content, using one another's bottoms as pillows. No sign of any crocodilians, nor Scar though. Very, very good. There's quite a few little spots where we can keep checking in and along the river as we make our way back upstream. Hello, Melody. You'd like to know if hippos have ever attacked my vehicle? And no, never once, thankfully. That would be a very terrifying scenario to be in. And I think very seldomly, I mean, I can't think of any stories with any of my friends or colleagues having been charged by a hippo in a vehicle. Buffalo, yes. Rhino, yes. Elephant, yes. But never a hippo. That's not to say it hasn't happened. I just don't know of any first-hand stories. However, hippos on foot can be very, very dangerous. And I do know one or two tales of people who have been either badly wounded or actually killed by hippos. But that's only ever been when people have been on foot, not in a vehicle. So like I said a bit earlier, alongside with Steph, there's going to be, I think the plan is to have 2 bushwalks going forward in the future, which will be a lot of fun, not just the one. And we're definitely going to have to be very, very cautious of the hippopotamus when we are on foot, as should Tristan be very cautious of the hippopotamus while he is tracking down this leopard. Why don't you get an update on how he's getting along?
Well, we've just come to Chitra Dam. I'm just looking around and I'm showing you all the little secret spots that we normally can't show you because of signal. But this is an area that is at the backside of Chitra Dam wall, and it's like a little oasis that we have behind you, and you can see why I love this little section and why Tumba would spend time in this area. It is lush, there is water everywhere that he can drink that's seeping from the dam itself, lots of vegetation, lots of thickets where he can hide, so it is a really good leopard spot. And I've seen a number of different leopards utilize this area extensively and really kind of spend a lot of time. It's also a great birding spot, this section. You can see it's kind of, because it's thick and there's water, it is absolutely beautiful in here, and a lot of the birds love it. So it's just a very pretty place to come and have a little look. It's obviously a difficult place to negotiate, and in any other car we probably wouldn't be able to get in here. In fact, it's only because we've got these shorter wheelbases that are so light that I can drive around here and look around and see if maybe there isn't some sign or a track for Tumba from last night. But we're just kind of meandering along. The only problem is that I think there might be a little bit too much water to get where I wanted to go, which is on the other side of this little water point. I think, fortunately, I'm going to have a situation where I might not get through here. No, it's going to be far too sticky to go through. So I thought maybe we used to be able to, during the winter, is cross straight up and round and then through, but it's a little bit too muddy and much. This section here probably just it was a big rut to form. Now, Proud Cat Mama, you say it looks so green, so lush and so pretty. Well, it's a great place to be. Like I say, I love it down here. It is very special. It feels quite enclosed. It really is a nice sort of place just to sit in, especially in the mornings. It's really, really pretty in here. And I find in the afternoons, it's a lot cooler in this section. So a lot of the leopards spend time lying here just because of the shade and also the amount of water that there is. There's a lot of water here, and that means that they can drink. And this is what I was referring to yesterday when I said Tumba might go and drink, is I was thinking he might come in to this section and kind of have a little drink from this area and spend some time. Now, there's a beautiful big marula. It's also worth us, while we're here, it's just looking around, because he was very full bellied, and so you never know, maybe there was some sort of food item that he might have had some. Oh no. There we go. Hopefully you can hear me better now, and that's because my mic pack for some reason just turned off by itself, which is very odd because the button to turn it off is not easy to get to, so that's quite strange. But anyway, it's sorted. We're back up and running. Joshua, you were wondering when the marula trees will bear fruit. Well, Joshua, at this stage, probably we're looking at February, mid-February, maybe into March. It depends on the amount of rain we get that will decide how quickly marula fruits develop. But normally, kind of, we get them in February, and sometimes if we get really good rains, you'll find them in late Jan. But most of the time, it's February is when we actually see them. Now, I don't see any tracks for Tumba coming this direction. We looked where we left him last night, no sign of him there. And so I just want to check one more place in the back of this dam wall, because there is another area that I know leopards sometimes will like to spend time. So I want to quickly have a little look there. Very pretty in here though. Now, Megan, unfortunately you're breaking up completely, and I believe that I need to send you across to Tayla Mac. I don't know what the countdown is going to be, so I'm just going to try and guess this, but let's see if we can go across to her and see what she's got. It'll be a surprise either way.
there's a big yawn, well, almost half a one. So there's 2 lionesses now that are up and have spotted our warthogs who have decided that they're going to sit down, which is good. You're making a move, girl. Looks like she wants to. That's the hungry face, that one. But these warthogs, they do know there's something here. I don't know if they've actually seen the lions because they've been standing up and moving too quickly. But there they are. They are grazing, and then they sit down, and then they stand up, and then they waddle around a little bit, and then someone gives them a fright, and they dart off in the odd direction. So there is a chance. And it's good for the lions. They are downwind of the warthogs. Now, Proud Cat Mama, you're wondering if I think that the warthogs would be able to see that lions at this distance. No, not necessarily. I mean, the sun is shining straight onto them, so it's not in the warthog's eyes. But warthog's eyesight is particularly bad. I think the wind is swirling, and I think they're picking up on scents every now and then that there's something around here, because they're very uneasy. Now they're running in the right direction, not for us. They keep going the way they're going now. So every single time they burst into a sprint, you can imagine they're burning valuable calories. And as a young little thing like that, you don't want to be running around too much, because you only have one chance to escape. And if you've burnt all that energy because you got a fright because you smelled something, then, well, that's natural selection, isn't it? But off they go. And our lions have now lost interest in the warthogs. They're probably about 200, 300 meters away, so they're not worried about them anymore. Even that other girl has actually gone back, and she's laid down. It's just that one lioness that was laying out in the open that's still around. Well, in that case, then I think we'll probably move on from these lions. It is very difficult. It's very, very far away, and there doesn't seem to be anything else moving in their direction right now. Manu, there's that bird again. This is a harrier. I don't know if it's a pallid or a Montague's. It's beautiful though, very pale in color. I'm just going to open up my book quickly and see, because it could be a new bird for me. Well, being at Safari Lab, I don't think I've ever put it on camera before. I'm just trying to look at the 2 differences of one. See, I don't know. It's so far away. It's hard to see if there's any streaking on the belly. Then it will be a Montague's, and if not, if it's just playing, then it's going to be the pallid. But it wasn't really flying in the right direction for us, was it? I think it's a pallid harrier. That's what I'm going to go with. But very cool. Still flying. I wish it would come a little bit closer. Hey, no, it's just stuck behind the trees, as I said there. Very, very, very good camera work. That's far away again, right at the end of the lens. Maybe it will swing around. I think it's also struggling with the wind this morning too, so it maybe doesn't necessarily go in the direction that it wants to. Cool. Let me quickly show you in the book. I'm just trying to find nice light. The book is struggling to open. Also, my hat and my nails are very dirty today. That's not great light, eh? So it's either, if you look up, just go up a little bit, you see now you can see the streaking on the Montague's harrier that we were talking about. They do occur here, both species occur around here, and very, very pale in color. Did anyone see that they talk about a black line? As you can see, I didn't see that, but I was also trying to follow on my monitor, and there's a bit of a glare, so maybe some of you took some screenshots. I know it was far away. Maybe you can try and zoom in and see if there was quite a bit of black on the tail, or was it just up here? If you go up to the left, you can see how more sort of playing color it is, and it lacks that black sort of that black line that they're talking about. So you can actually see it. I don't think it was. I think it most certainly was the pallid harrier. Here you can see the black line quite nicely, sort of bottom right. If you go just a little bit further down, just to this one, yeah, you see that black line that they're talking about on this. That's a sub-adult, so don't look at those colors. Don't let that fool you. Remember, they're normally a lot darker and more mottled than the adults. So I think we're going to have to go with the pallid harrier this morning. We'll see though. It's been flying around. I've been trying to get a decent view, but I haven't been able to. But very nice, nonetheless. Put my book back. Okay. Thank you, lions. You can just turn around. But if you once you have had a look at that bird and you think you can confirm for me that it is a pallid harrier or a Montagu's, let me know. Hashtag Safari Live. It'll be good to know. I'm starting to see lots of vehicles on the other side of the river now. I wonder if they've seen the lions that we've just been looking at. So I need to just take my scarf if it's getting a bit warm. Or if the other girls are still on the other side of the river. Or they could just be coming to check. Woo! Joey from Australia, from Down Under. Thank you, mate. You said that, yes, it is the pallid harrier. Wonderful. I do love it when you guys can help me, especially in the mornings. Particularly, it's hard to sort of see on our monitors. It can be a little bit of glare. So normally when you catch us ducking down, you'll see we've just about got our jerseys covered and trying to get complete darkness so we can see what's going on. But that's good to know. I'm just doing another quick scan around here to see if I've completely missed something. Nah, I think it's gonna get as good as it can get in this area. Especially with the wind now starting to pick up, it's actually becoming quite unpleasant. Okay, we'll keep bumbling about. I can see Scott up on the horizon. He's not found Scar. He's not found a leopard or a cheetah. He's decided to stop and smell the flowers.
Hello everyone, and this is for you. I didn't do it. You were asking about flowers in the Mara, and these are the most prominent flower that I have seen. So I'm not actually sure what it's called. I've been trying to work it out. The one name is a white tissue paper flower, but that sounds terrible. And I've just found now a Latin name, Cycnium tubulosum, but I don't know the common name of it. But these are definitely widespread through the Mara, and if you get lucky, you see the ground carpeted in these. There's hardly any here, and I'm guessing that's because it's been drying out a little bit. I've also noticed that they kind of do tend to be more numerous on the opposite side of the river. Cycnium tubulosum. What a mouthful. Very good. We came up here because there was an Impala looking quite distinctly in one direction, but once we got a bit closer, it turned out it seemed to have some kind of a constipation. It was just poised, trying to do its business, not looking at a predator. So we're now heading back onto the main road, back towards camp. It looks like Tayla's left those lions and the warthog. She's just racing off ahead of us, trying to beat us to breakfast. I wonder what is for breakfast. Quite peckish. We had some delicious roast sheep last night, roasted Maasai sheep. And our new camp manager, Alka's doing a wonderful job making our lives very luxurious. So we're all enjoying her waving her wand over the various departments, and the food is definitely seeming to be improving. Not that it was bad before, but it's just going from good to better. Now, one thing that's been very interesting to take notes of over the last few months is that there's so many less vehicles driving around here. We are out of the busy migration season, which means essentially that we now are going to have to work harder to find animals, as we're not going to be able to rely on... Oh, I haven't stopped in the best spot here. Oh no, there's a little dick. It was busy defecating on one of its middens. They like to defecate in set spots, the old dik-dik. That was a Kirk's dik-dik. You get a few different subspecies of dik-dik. I think it's mainly the Kirks you get here in the Mara. I think it's the first one I've actually managed to show you a glimpse of. Very good. We're going to send you back down to Tristan in South Africa.
Well, we're just still messing around behind Chitra Dam wall, and we're kind of doing little loops around, just seeing what's going on. And we had lots of birds calling, so we thought we'd maybe stumbled upon tumba or something that was irritating them, and we found what it is. It's circling high above the sky. It was 3 African hawk eagles, so they are a big hunter of birds and squirrels, and so that's why squirrels and birds were all making a lot of noise. So I don't think there's anything untoward otherwise. It seems as though once they're drifting away, it's gone all quiet and everybody's settled down again. That's not to say that we're not going to carry on checking here. We're going to keep checking. There's another little access point that we can go down and have a little look and see if he's not there. Check towards the campsite on the dam wall. Nothing coming out on the dam wall, so I think must be somewhere still behind the dam wall here. It's just that it is perfect terrain for a leopard to absolutely disappear, and so it's not an easy place to find them. The other thing is there's a number of other antelope species around here that are all drifting around and looking. Aria, yes, we do have a leopard that is pregnant at the moment, and that is Tundi. So she is pregnant and is kind of in a situation where she is producing, well, she should be producing a set of cubs hopefully around November, December. That's where we're kind of hoping for. And then Kuchava possibly could be pregnant. I mean, she has mated quite a bit, so she might be, and that's it really. The rest unfortunately are not, and obviously we also don't have that many females around after the Karula and Salahesh disappeared. We're still kind of getting everybody settled again, and all the females are trying to work things out and settle themselves down. Now you can see this is another area where leopards often spend time. It's a little rocky section. The Mulawanini's got lots of nice little boulders like this, and funny enough, this is one place that I've always wanted to see a leopard. I've always wanted to see a leopard on that particular rock right there. So there's this boulder that's kind of there, and I've always wanted to see one lying, and I've never had it. I've had it on foot, but it was so brief and quick that unfortunately I didn't really get to kind of look properly. So I want to just carry on down this little 2-track here. I'm not sure about signal. I'm pushing the absolute extremes. We've never ever had signal where I am right now, and so whether it's going to stay I'm not quite sure, but it's worth just exploring. It is really pretty in here, so I like spending time in this section and just moving around slowly and having a little look and checking. There's some beautiful big leadwoods, and then you see there's 2 great big hammerkop nests here. Now these hammerkop nests have often got them on it. I've seen Varro's eagle owls using this nest as well, and sometimes you even see there's a resident black mamba that lives inside here too, that curls up and around here, and so it's a good place to check for the black mamba as well. But this is the exact, well, pretty much the exact spot where the Egyptian geese are in front of me. So over there is where I had a little altercation with Karula. So I've told the story before where she almost ate me, and that's the exact spot basically where it happened. Is if you just turn up the left there's another little drainage section, and that's where she was so feisty. But you can see there's the Egyptian geese waddling off. Now we were on the other side of all of this water. We've just come around this side just to check if there's anything in this particular area that could be going on. It seems as though not much. I just want to check a little bit further forward. There's a sort of section of water and then it stops, so I just want to have a little look there. If there's nothing here, then I'm going to go around to where I found Tumba yesterday. But I'm super impressed that we still have signal in this area. It amazes me that we do. Now there's lots of Nyala around here, so I think I'm going to leave it where it is. But how beautiful is it in here? Isn't this stunning? It's nice just to see a bit of water and drainage kind of banks and drainage lines and banks and rocks, and there's the Nyala that I was talking about, and they seem fairly relaxed. So maybe Tumba isn't here anymore, maybe he's moved somewhere else. I don't know. We thought it was worth a try, worth checking, and like I say, it's a new area for all of you. I don't think we've ever shown this section before. Now I'm just trying to quickly turn around because unfortunately can't really go further. Cheryl, you say such beautiful trees in this area. They are, aren't there? There's some great big tumbuties, there's leadwoods, there's bourbeens, there's jackalberries. It just all happens out. Yeah, it really is very, very pretty. Now, unfortunately, with the way things are in elephants and all kinds of other things, you used to be able to, once you got here, you used to be able to drive this whole section all the way down to the Chitwa cut line along this bank. It's not that far. I mean, it's about 200 meters that you could drive, and it was really very beautiful. But after a bit of the floods and the elephants, they've pushed a lot of trees. There's been a lot of kind of undulations and changes in the riverbed itself, and it's no longer possible to drive all that way. You can probably get quite far. In fact, we can try it. Let's see. Let's go and explore and see what we can get. Maybe we get lucky. Now, what's this flying over and above us? It sounds like a Wahlberg's eagle. Yes, there's a Wahlberg's eagle. It's directly above us. That's making quite a bit of noise. I wonder if they've got a nest nearby. You can hear it calling. It's making a lot of noise, this Wahlberg's eagle. Maybe there's a nest, like I say, somewhere close by, and that's why it's making so much noise. But well done, Viam. Look at that, isn't that amazing? Nothing quite like a soaring eagle against a blue backdrop. Imagine what it must be like to be that eagle, to see what it's seeing up there, and just that kind of ability to glide through the air like that must just be quite phenomenal. There would be a couple of jealous animals out there wishing they could do stuff like this. And look at how there is no effort whatsoever. I mean, there's a little bit of balancing of the tail and the wings every now and then, but otherwise there is hardly anything going into that. It's very energy efficient being a bird of prey on a summer's day, because there's lots of thermals, and you can see it's just riding those thermals. It's not actually flapping its wings at all as it drifts higher and higher and further away from us. Unbelievable. Very, very cool. Right, well, let's carry on down the riverbed and see how far I can actually get on this. I used to be able to get all the way to the cut line, and I'm not sure if that's going to be possible, but we're going to try it anyway and see how we go. I think we might be able to manage it. It seems like it's actually opened up again. It was a time where it wasn't possible, so we're going to just try anyway. And like I say, hopefully Tumba's lying somewhere in these thickets, and I'll be... Well, there we go. What's that? Do you see that? Look. This Egyptian goose was being attacked by the martial eagle, and that's why the birds were going crazy. The martial eagle was on the Egyptian goose, and then the Egyptian goose has just escaped over us. Now, I didn't even see it at all, so the poor martial eagle has lost its food, and that poor Egyptian goose is not in a good way. As it flew over, I could see its stomach, lots of puncture wounds where the martial eagle was obviously trying to kill it. That's craziness. So it just goes to show how big a prey item a martial eagle can go for. Egyptian goose is not small by any stretch of the imagination. And did you see how the Wahlberg's eagle then came in and was dive bombing the martial eagle as it took off? Absolutely phenomenal. Now I wonder where the martial eagle went. Now it was all happening over here. This is where the scuffle was, and unfortunately it was just a little bend that we couldn't see what was happening until we got close by. Now I'm trying to see if I can find this martial eagle. I think the martial eagle's flown away, unfortunately. But that was the commotion we were hearing. Maybe that's why the Wahlbergs were so vocal. I was thinking maybe there's a nest somewhere here, or there was some sort of reason, but it was obviously because of this martial eagle killing this Egyptian goose in this area that's really upset this Wahlbergs. You can see the Wahlbergs still above us, still screaming. Wow, that was amazing. Absolutely insane. There comes the pale form Wahlbergs now, by the looks of things. Looks like there's two of them now flying. Difficult to see them because they're sort of hovering just above us, just above the tree line and behind the trees. Wow, that's insane. So we obviously, I wish we could have seen the whole process and seen the martial eagle on the actual Egyptian goose and seeing what was going on, but we at least saw the kind of martial eagle taking off and going away from us. That was crazy. I did not expect to see that at all in this drainage line. Like I said, it just goes to show, sometimes we find these big carcasses of birds and we always think that it's something like a leopard, but that just shows you that a martial eagle is more than capable. And see if we can get a view. And while I do that, let's go back across to Scott, who I think has a very common antelope with ones that have a little bit bigger than out here in South Africa.
Well, that sounds incredibly exciting with Tristan. And one day we will get lucky enough to see a predatory bird plucking its prey out of the sky. We certainly are racking up some good time out here in the field with all of you guys. It's been about 3 years now of daily safaris. But I don't think we've been lucky enough to get a epic bird kill just yet. We stopped with this bachelor herd of Impala. They were all chasing one another around wildly a bit earlier, trying to establish who's the boss. But they seem to have... Oh, no, that one looks like it may be getting going again. Come on, get the team going. And once one or two start chasing one another, they're all going to start. So, looking good. They make the most bizarre burping, gurgling noise. You're probably not going to be able to hear it because it's so windy. The wind has just picked up a few minutes ago. Oh, there we go. Quite tricky to pick your battles here, because as you're having a fight with one individual, another one may come in and attack from the side. How awesome is this? Some organized chaos. Dave's got his work cut out for him, trying to pick which individual to follow. I think he chose the right one there. You'll also notice there's a few considerably younger Impalas who seem to be spectating more than getting involved. The ones with the smaller horns. And interestingly, I've actually found in my career 2 Impala lying dead out in the veldt with no predators in sight and puncture wounds in their body, and that's ordinarily in the rutting season. So even though we didn't see a full-blown fight there, although there were some horns clashing at one stage, they can actually kill one another from time to time, which is really interesting, and something that would be incredible to witness. I've never been lucky enough to see any animals really fighting, be it lions, warthog, buffalo. I've never seen a full-blown fight out here, and I guess that emphasizes the fact that wild animals will only fight as and when they actually really need to. Hakuna kitu bwana, iko vichwa pale, angalia gulia kwa crotons, badaya hii daraja. Ndio. Aya. Let's take a look here. There's an elephant that's just approaching a Lionesses tree, or maybe it's just gone past it, and I'm hoping he may give it a good shake. Come on, boy. He's a beautiful big bull. And just before I left, I noticed the elephants were really enjoying feeding on the oval fruits from this tree. But it looks like this individual has got other plans, although, no, I think it's difficult to tell exactly where he is, but I think he's still... No, I think he's moved past it. I was hoping he was going to give us a good old shakedown. It's something that we can, you guys can expect to be seeing in Djuma in the coming months. When did the marulas start fruiting? Is it further into January, February that the fruits start becoming ripe? I've forgotten, but I think it's there and thereabouts. And just like the elephants go from Lionesses to Lionesses here in the Mara, they literally run from marula to marula when the season is right. Very good. Okie dokie. Well, we're going to continue working our way up along the Mara River. We are behind Tayla, but you are about to leapfrog into her vehicle.
And a big welcome to a school that has joined us from a very far away this morning, all the way from Israel. all the lovely children that are at Reen School. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you on board of my car this morning, and we're all hoping to show you the most amazing creatures. Hopefully we'll have some lions, hopefully we'll have some any other animals, birds, maybe crocodiles, hippos. I'm not sure what we're going to see, but my name is Tayla, and on camera with me today is Manu, and you'll be meeting Tristan and Scott in a little bit too. But the animals that we have got out here this morning are one of the most common animals that you can find throughout the whole of Africa, and they're probably, actually in my opinion, they're the most successful species of antelope, and that is the impala. But today they seem to be a little bit on the nervous side, and it's because it's so windy. So if you do have any questions about these impala or about any of the animals in Africa, we'd love to hear from you. And you can just ask your teachers, and then they will send them through to us. But you can see they're staring, they're watching around. Now, the reason why they are so nervous is because they can't hear very well, and the scents are all swirling around. Now, Shani, you're wondering if I've ever seen a brand new animal right after it's been born. I have. I've actually watched a few births as well. And impala is actually a common animal to see as tiny little ones. But they've already had their little lambs. Well, this group doesn't seem to have too many lambs at all, but they do grow so quickly they could be just hiding in amongst the rest. But we started seeing some very, very, very small ones about a month ago. There's a little one that's just popped out. Look how quickly it's grown, though. And that's only about 2 or 3 months old. And look at the size of it. It's almost the size of the adult. Can you believe that? But it is very important that out here, there's obviously lots of predators. There's lots of lions, there's lots of cheetah, there's leopards, there's hyenas, and even some of the eagles are so big they can take a young impala. So they've got to be careful. So that's the big man, that's the male with the horns. The females don't have any horns, and he's going to try and protect this herd to the best of his ability. Now they're a bit nervous. Now they're running back across the road, and if we're lucky, they might even do some big leaps for us, because the impala are the long-distance jumping champions of the antelope species. They can leap huge lengths, but not today. Today they don't want to show off. Just showing you a little bit, but they can run really, really fast as well. And that male's not going to leave their side. He's going to keep following them around, and he like I said, he needs to protect them, but he also needs to watch out that there are no other male impala that are going to come and try and take his herd away from him. So he's got to make sure. See, now he's trying to herd those females back to the rest of the group. There's 2 of them that have jumped up ahead. He's a bit bossy. He doesn't let anybody do their own thing. They have to listen to him, otherwise he gets quite upset, and then he chases them around. But they'll all stay out in the open today. I don't think they're going to go into the thickets and hide behind the trees. They'll need to use their eyesight today. And impala have got very, very good eyesight. So by staying out in the open, you can see any predators that could be coming towards them. But the grass is a bit long here. So something like a lion or a leopard or even a cheetah could sneak through this grass and still try and get them during the day. Well, we're going to try and find you a
Well, good morning to sunny South Africa. So you've been with Tayla all the way in the Masai Mara, and now we've come all the way south down to South Africa. So it's a special warm welcome to Riem School from Israel. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. My name is Tristan, and on camera today I do have VM. And remember that you can send lots of questions. You just ask your teacher, and then she'll send them through to all of us. And you can see that we're at a dam with lots and lots of hippos. So we've got hippos all over the place, and these hippos are having a little bath. They are taking it very easy because they know that the sun is up, and if you're a hippo and you don't have any fur like we are as humans, the sun is very bad for you. It makes you dehydrated, so that means that you lose a lot of water, and that can be very dangerous. And also they get sunburnt like us as people. So these guys spend their day in the water. Now that's them making a little noise. They're just talking to each other. So they spend their day in the water, and then at night is when they come out to feed and to try and find food. Jonathan, you were wondering what the hippo does all day. Well, all day, the hippo does this. It sits in the water like it's in a swimming pool, and it takes it very easy. And they'll even be able to sleep in the water and have a little nap. And then they'll find that when it gets to around sunset, that's when the hippo starts to get more active. And he's going to come out, or she, and go and feed off all the grass around us, because hippos do not eat meat and they are not fish eaters. All right, they're grass eaters, so they need a lot of grass, and so they come out during the day and they then go, at night, and they go and feed and get lots and lots of grass. They can eat close to 200 kilograms of grass in a night, which is a lot of food for one animal to eat. But the rest of the day is just like this, the way they'll spend some time. Sometimes you'll find the little ones will play a little bit during the day, but most of the time they will spend like this. And there's actually a little baby hippo that's just popped up and is busy trying to bite its mother on the head. Now, Ari, you're wondering how many teeth does a hippo have? Ari, I actually can't even remember, but what they do have is they have 4 really big teeth that we call tushes or tusks effectively, and they're these big long teeth that grow from the bottom and the top jaw that the hippo uses to defend itself. Look how cute those are. That's a little baby on the right and then a younger one on the left. So the one on the left is not its mom, it's just one of its siblings. But after that, then I'm just trying to think now and count how many teeth they would have. They'd probably have at least another 4 or 5 on each side, top and bottom. So let's say 4, that's already 16 plus the 4 big ones. That would be 20, and then they'll have ones between the big ones, the incisors, and those will be also 2 and 2 and 4, so maybe around 24. I might be wrong, but I think 24, somewhere around there. Like I say, I might be wrong. Gally, you're asking if there are any thin hippos. No, most of our hippos are quite round and rotund and fat, and the reason why is because they spend a lot of time in water. Now, in summer it is very warm here and the water temperature is quite warm, but in winter it gets quite cold, and so they need a lot of fat to be able to make sure that they stay nice and warm even in the cold months of winter, and so that's why they're very round. The thing is with a hippo though, is a hippo can get thin if we have a drought. Now, a drought is a time when we have very little rain, and that means that they can't find the food as well as water, and then you can find that the hippos get very, very skinny and they can even die from it. So last year we had a very bad drought and there was lots of skinny hippos, but this year we've had a bit more rain, and so they're able to feed off a lot more grass, and so all of them are looking fat and healthy and really good. Now, I'm not the only one, and neither is Tayla. There's also another gentleman by the name of Scott that is out with us this morning, and he wants to say hello to all of you and introduce the tallest of our antelope that we see here in Africa. Now, unfortunately, Scott has got something with his microphone that's not working, so we'll go back to him a little bit later. So for now, we're back with the hippos and just watching them move around. Now, the big male hippo is a hippo that has just come out close to me. He's much bigger than all the rest, so he's that one over there. And you'll find in this little grouping or pod of hippos, we call it a pod or a raft of hippos, you'll find that these guys, there will be one big male that kind of controls this whole group, and he will allow younger males, as long as they're not trying to sort of go after his females or they're not trying to mark their territory. If they do that, then he'll chase them away, but then the rest will be females with those little ones that he's probably sired, because male hippos, like a lot of other male animals, will kill the little ones. Listen to this. So that's how they talk to each other. Little greeting of one another as they got closer. And so they're much like other animals in that the males will often kill the babies so that the female will be able to mate with them again, which is pretty nasty, but it does happen. Ella, you're asking how much does a mature hippo weigh? Well, a big male hippo, you're looking at about 2,500 kilograms, maybe even up to 3 at a push. So anywhere between 2,500 and 2,800, but that would be really a very, very, very large male hippo. The females are normally around 1,800 kilograms, so they're a little bit on the smaller side, but it's still a very big animal that weighs almost 2 tons. When you think about how much that is a lot of weight, and they are big animals, and that's why when they come out at night to feed, they don't have to worry, because we know at night a lot of our predators are active, so lions and leopards and all of these other kind of creatures that could potentially hunt hippos are out. But because they're so big, the hippos don't have to worry about it. They can move around without having to worry about the lions hunting them or anything like that because of their size. The only problem they have is the little babies. They have to keep their babies safe, and so what you'll find is that the moms, they normally feed with their babies very close to the water hole, so that if there's a problem, oh, look at the little one yawning. So its teeth haven't grown just yet. If we saw a big male yawning, it would have very different teeth. They'll have much longer teeth than what we saw on that little baby. So that one's still cute and got a long way to go until it's a big dominant hippo. Now I'm just trying to look around and see if there isn't any sign of some crocodiles. This is an area where we do see crocodiles as well, but I can't really see any at the moment. Mika, you're asking how does a hippo clean itself? Well, Mika, basically it doesn't really have to clean itself. It will have a situation where it has birds that help clean it, and things called terrapins. Now, the terrapins and the birds are animals that will come and feed off all the ticks and all the parasites that they get, because when they walk through the grass, ticks will latch on and feed off their blood, and you'll have a situation where they kind of clean everything up and make sure that the hippo is in good condition. Other than that, the water itself means that they wash off any mud or anything like that, and they keep themselves very, very clean. Now, there's actually, it looks like a little bird that's on one of the hippos at the moment, so that's what I was talking about. Is it a bird or is it an ear from another hippo? No, it's an ear from another hippo, so that is a bit of a confusion. I thought it was a little bird that might be sitting on them. You often find the birds sitting on the backs of the hippos, feeding off all those parasites in the mornings, especially now when it's quite hot. The birds are quite active. Now, the little one is standing out, and like I say, we are joined by Reem from Israel, so it is a warm welcome. If they weren't with us just now, I don't know, but I was asked to say hello to you guys again, so hopefully you are back with us and that you can hear us nice and clear. So I think that's how you say the name. I'm not very good with it, and so I'm hoping that I'm not saying it wrong and that is the right name for all of you. Right, but no crocodiles that I can see. It's just the hippos having a little play. There is a place where there are baby crocodiles, so I want to go and quickly try and see if I can find the baby crocodile and find a little place to have a sort of look at it. Before we get to the baby crocodile, though, there is one other thing I want to show you while we're here. So, Megan, if you can just repeat that for me. Sorry, I didn't catch that. There we go. So, Rame Elementary, you're wondering what the hippos eat. Well, they'll eat grass. They are grass eaters, so they come out and they feed off all the grass that is around here. They don't eat fish or meat. Sometimes you'll find in really extreme situations they might get a bit of meat, but otherwise they're looking for grass more than anything else. Now, what I wanted to show you is that there's a very beautiful bird sitting here. It's a bright yellow bird called a village weaver, or spotted-backed weaver was its old name, and that is the male that you see there that's busy grooming himself and making himself look very pretty. The female doesn't look as bright as that. She's a little bit more kind of an olivey yellow color rather than this bright yellow, and they build these most beautiful nests, and so they are called weavers because of the way that they weave together the grass and make a beautiful kind of nest that they can put their little ones in. And it's much like somebody that weaves a basket. It's a very similar thing. These weavers will do that, and they make this nest, and the nest, it takes quite quick. Most of these nests were built in about 3 to 4 days, and then now the females have lined the nest with soft material after the male is finished, and then they can then have their little babies in a nice, soft, comfortable place where they will lay their eggs. It really is quite amazing. So very, very special, these birds, in the way that they build their nest. The unfortunate thing for the man is that if the lady or the mom decides, no, I don't like this nest, I don't want this nest, she will actually break it down, and the poor dad has to build a nest again. So it's a very difficult thing for the males, but they do get it done. You can see there's an old nest that was abandoned and is no longer being built anymore, so he decided that's not a good spot and has finished it, and then you've got the rest of the nests that are nice and complete eat, and those will have little chicks in them fairly soon. And once there's chicks, this area is very noisy because the chicks are always asking for food and calling and making a lot of noise. So they will be a little bit more activity in a few months' time. But I'm going to go round to our little baby crocodile now. I just wanted to show you that little nest because it is very, very pretty. Now I've also got to try and get into my reverse gear. Shake, you're asking which animals can hunt the hippos. Well, the animals that will hunt hippos is crocodile if it is a baby, so you'll find crocodiles will go after baby hippos. And if it is on land, then lions can be dangerous to young hippos. Big adult male hippos or female hippos, they don't have to worry at all. They have a situation where they're too big and too strong. They've got very powerful teeth. They're also in a situation where they've got lots of thick skin, and that makes it very difficult for the hippos to be, for the lions to be able to kill them. But lions, hyenas, and if it's a really small baby, maybe even a leopard would be something that would hunt a hippo. Now, sorry, I'm just taking off my jersey because it's getting very hot. This morning was cold when we started, but now the sun is getting high and it's getting extremely hot, and so I'm just taking off my jersey so that I don't get overheated. Now on my way towards the baby crocodile, we're going to stop and try and see if we can spot something else, and you're going to have to tell me that if you can see it and whether or not you can spot it. We're going to not give you any clues just yet, and I'll show you on the camera, and if you can tell me what you can see, I'll go to the baby crocodile and then I'll come back to that little area and you can tell me and have a guess if there's anything that you can spot in this little section. It's going to be a very difficult one, but maybe your eyes are better than mine and Viam's and you'll be able to see better than what we do. But let's just quickly get to where I'm talking about. It's a beautiful day in South Africa. I hope it's a beautiful day in Israel as well. I hope that you're having nice weather that side. It's always good when there's nice weather. Shaka, the birds will build the nests very, very quickly, so it'll take them 3 or 4 days to build the nest. There you can see some Egyptian geese that was flying off. Now down below me here, Viam is going to show you a picture, and so Viam, if you can zoom in just a little bit for me so that we can try and do this game. Now you can tell me, well, tell your teacher, what do you see in that picture? There is something there, and I want you to tell me if you can see anything and what you think is in that area. Where those sticks are, there is something there, and I will try and show you a little bit later when I come back. Maybe you can spot it and let me know. And so remember, tell your teacher and she'll let us know exactly what is sitting in that area. So there is something there. You've just got to tell me what it is. I will come back to it a little bit later, but you can let me know what you think is there. Right, let's go to see if our baby crocs are around. It's a very tricky one. There's very well camouflaged whatever it is down there, but you'll be able to have a little look and maybe you can get lucky and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Right, this is where the baby crocs like to hang out. So the crocodiles that are very small, they need to hide in a place where there's a lot of protection, and so they like this area here. Now, I haven't seen them for quite some time. I spotted them about 2 days ago, but I was on a rush and I haven't actually shown anybody these baby crocodiles. This is their first time, so you guys are going to be the first ones to see. There it is, the baby croc on its tree. Now I don't know how many there are, but there is definitely one little tiny baby crocodile that is sitting on top of the tree. There it is. How cute is that? So that is very small, and this little one was probably, I would say, maybe not even 3 to 4 weeks old. So it's still a tiny little crocodile. It's going to grow quite a bit, and it's clever because it's using the tree. So it knows that there's a lot of big fish here called catfish that can eat it, and there's a lot of other things that are around that maybe it might get eaten by. So what it does is it goes up onto the tree there. One is it's going to be a lot safer, and 2, it's a cold-blooded animal. So cold-blooded animals are not like us as people where we will shiver to get warm and we'll find a way to heat up our body and produce our own heat. They can't do that, so they need the sun to be able to warm their bodies, and so they're using the sun's heat to be able to get the muscles moving so that they can then start to hunt. And a little crocodile like this, even though it's tiny, it's a little baby, it still needs to be able to hunt for itself, and it will hunt insects, small fish, and if there's a little carcass, maybe something that died close to the water, you might find them going and eating a little bit off there, but their jaws and their body is not strong enough to pull big pieces of meat off just yet. So insects is mostly what they're going to be feeding on, and small fish. And then as time goes on, they'll eventually become these massive crocodiles that will weigh 1,000 kilograms. Can you believe that a crocodile can get over a ton? And in the Masai Mara, where Scott and Tayla are this morning, there are very big crocodiles there, and those crocodiles will eat fully grown impalas, they'll eat zebras, wildebeest, and even the baby hippos, like I was talking about a little bit earlier. But those crocodiles really are much larger than this one. This one is probably now doesn't even weigh more than, I would say, 500 grams, so it's going to get 20 times bigger than what it is now. So you can imagine it's going to take a while for that to happen. Also with crocodiles, because they're very long living animals, you have a situation where they grow quite slowly. So a crocodile will live to sometimes as much as 100 years old, and they have to then grow slowly through that process. And so crocodiles are not going to get into the sort of 1,000 kilogram mark straight away overnight and grow very fast. They're going to take a long time to get there. And so this little one has got a lot of evading to do, and a lot of sort of time to spend trying to get away from predators. So you're asking, what is the most dangerous thing for crocodile babies? Well, probably the most dangerous thing in this particular area that we're in is a catfish. That would be something that is very dangerous. And then also another thing called a fish eagle. Now, fish eagles generally go after fish, as the name suggests, but they will also take little baby crocodiles like this. You might also find things like herons might take a baby crocodile as well, and then even other crocodiles themselves sometimes. You know, if it's a different crocodile, it's not the mother, or it's not in any way related to this crocodile, then you might find that they will come along and eat them. And then also when they eggs, and before they hatch and become little crocodiles like this, then their biggest predator when they're in the egg is something called a Nile monitor, or a water monitor, and that is a type of lizard. And this particular lizard, it gets quite big. It can get much bigger than what this little baby crocodile is, and that lizard loves eggs, and so it will find the crocodile's nest and it will dig up out and get to the eggs, and then it will feed off them. Because remember that crocodiles build a nest, they like birds, and that they will lay eggs, and they'll do that normally on a bank very close to the water. So somewhere close here, they would put their little nest on the edge, and they'll excavate and they'll lay their eggs inside there, and then they'll cover it with sand. Right, we're going to carry on from the dam and try and see if I can find anything else for you guys in this little area. And while I do that, I believe my friend Tayla has managed to find a very large hippo, but it's not in the water, which is excellent.
We have got a variety of animals out in the open. Sorry we've been gone for so long, but we're back now. So those are Egyptian geese, the birds, and then we've got Africa's most
So unfortunately, it seems as though the Masai Mara side, they've got a few issues and they can't actually hear anything. So we're going to just carry on, and you're going to be stuck with me for a little bit more longer and here in South Africa. Now let's go back to where I asked about if anybody could see anything. Megan, do we have any answers as to whether anybody saw anything in our picture? I wonder if we do. Now, I can't hear Megan at all, so I'm also losing comms, which is not ideal. So, Megs, if you can repeat what you said. So the school, all of you guessed a baby crocodile. No, so it's not. I'm going to show you exactly what was hidden in that picture and what we saw. It's something very cute and something that you don't see easily. And the only reason I know it's there is because yesterday I was following a leopard here and I almost drove over it, and so that's why I know what is here. So I'm going to just park where it's nice for VM to be able to see what is going on. But sitting down below there is is a very, very, very neat, very well camouflaged. Now, camouflage means an area that is hidden so that predators don't see it. A nest for a bird. So, Vim, if you can go in, you're on the right side. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So there we go. Do you see the little bird sitting there? Now that bird is sitting on its nest. There's 2 eggs that it's sitting on at the moment, but isn't the camouflage amazing? So that bird is really well hidden, and the reason why it's well hidden is because its nest is out in the open. It can't have a nest that is completely visible, because otherwise all the predators that I was talking about with the little baby crocodiles would be a problem for this, including leopard and hyena and lions, and then also things that might trample on it. So this bird sits here and it will incubate the eggs, keep the eggs a nice warm temperature, and you'll see sometimes it'll get up and it will turn the eggs and make sure that the eggs are evenly heated, and then it will try and deter any predators. But isn't that camouflage amazing? Very difficult to see it, and if it stands up, the eggs are not like a chicken egg where they've got little white shells. They've got very well camouflaged shells. It looks just like that brown stuff that you see there. It makes it very difficult to see. So incredible little bird, and the way that it's been able to build its nest. Now, Jonathan, you're wondering what is the biggest bird that we have here? Well, the biggest bird that we have here is called an ostrich. Now, ostriches are not able to fly, so it is the biggest non-flying bird. Now, I'm trying to find my bird book quickly in amongst all of this. Is that it? There we go. I found my bird book, so I can show you what the biggest bird is, and then I'll show you what the biggest flying bird is as well, because both of them occur in this area and in the Masai Mara, where Scott and Tayla are, and it is a gigantic bird, the ostrich. Now, I've just got to find it in my book. Why can't I find it? Come on. You would think it would be easy. There we go. It's been a long time since I've looked for the ostrich, that's why. But here we go. Here is our ostrich, which is this individual over here. Is very, very big. This bird will weigh close to 80 kilograms when it's fully grown, and it stands almost 2 meters tall. Now, I'm not exactly a small person. I am about 6'2" or 1.86 meters, and so an ostrich stands taller than what I do, which is absolutely amazing. Now, you can see this is the female ostrich on the left-hand side. It is more brown and it got kind of orangish legs. Then you've got the chick, which has got little stripes on its back, and then the male ostrich, or the boy ostrich, is black with this little red tuft at the back and little white edge to its sort of feathers. So that's the biggest bird that we see here. It's absolutely massive. Now, the biggest flying bird that we see, now I'll try and find it quickly, it's not too far from the ostrich, is this bird over here. Now, this bird is called a Kori bustard. Now, Kori bustards will weigh close to 20 kilograms. 18, I think it is. 18 kilograms. Let me check. Yes, 18 kilograms is about how much this bird weighs. So to lift 18 kilograms and fly with it, it means that this bird has to have massive wings. So look at the size of those wings. Big, sort of robust, wide wings that give it the power to be able to fly. But it is also a very big bird, and it's very difficult for this bird to fly. So most of its time is spent walking, where it will look for all kinds of insects and even small lizards and rodents. They go after, but mostly insects is what they feed on, and they'll kind of walk around and then every now and then just do short flights, being able to get to a new place to start feeding, so or to get away from danger. Right, now I'm going to try and head back towards, or closer to home, and while I do that, hopefully this time Tayla will be able to talk to all of you, and you'll be able to hear her as she drives through the beautiful East African plains.
My goodness, sorry about that, everybody, but we're hopefully back. But our hippo has disappeared. He wasn't going to hang around, and because he's a wild animal, he just does what he wants. So there was a question from Danielle about how did the lion get the title King of the Jungle, King of all the animals? Well, to be honest, the lion isn't. The lion is not the king of the African plains. If I had to say anything, it's probably the elephant. And out in the wild, the bigger, the stronger you are, the less animals are going to try and mess with you. And there are very few creatures that want to mess with an elephant. And I've watched elephants chasing lions around on many, many different occasions. Only every now and then can you see lions chasing elephants. The tables sometimes turn, but normally the elephants are the ones. But of the big cats in Africa, the lions do take the title. They're much bigger than leopards. They're definitely much bigger than cheetah, and they even give hyenas a bit of a hiding every now and then when they get too close and cheeky. But I hope we're going to find some more animals now, because this section of the reserve seems to be a little bit on the quiet side. See, what happens out here is all the animals just follow the rain around. So wherever there's rain, a few days later, nice green grass will sprout up, and it's the tastiest grass. And they want to get as much nutrients as they can. So they'll go to that area, and then they'll eat. And then when there's rain somewhere else and they quickly go, they move to the next spot, and then they eat all that grass. So it's important that they keep moving around, because if they eat in the same spot, they will eat all the grass, and they can actually damage it. And then it might not grow back as well as it would. So some grasses like to be eaten more than others, and that's why it's important that they keep rotating them. So if any of your parents are farmers, if you've ever been to a farm before where there's horses, for example, you'll see that they'll move the horses around in different paddocks. They won't keep them in one paddock all the time. I don't know what this car in front of us has seen, so I'm going to check to see where they're looking, but I'm not sure. I might try and go past them. Yes, I think we will go past this vehicle. I don't know, they're taking pictures on the left and then they're taking pictures on the right, so I don't see any animals. I could be blind though. Let's just sneak past very quickly. Where are we going to go? We're going to go towards home. Home is up on the escarpment. And then maybe we'll see some elephants, but it's a bit windy around here, so I think everybody's hanging around in areas where there's maybe not so much wind. They don't like it. We saw with the Impala that they didn't like it. So it seems as though Scott has beaten me to try and find you an elephant. He's got one quite near him.
Yes, they're not very close to the elephant, but we have managed to find some. And I know you were discussing who is the king of the African jungle. With Tayla, in my opinion, it's the elephants, because they are the biggest animal here, and size matters. If you are big and strong, you can do what you like, really, and there's nothing quite as big as them. These are all females, though, and young males. It's a family herd of elephants. The fathers don't hang around the family herds. They head off and do their own things. And even that big one on the right there, that's a female. Big old lady. And the bulls are considerably larger than the females, sometimes as much as 2 tons heavier. And it looks like they're enjoying snacking on the grass and maybe a few small bushes that are popping up. Hello, McCann. You would like to know what is the average length of an elephant's trunk? And I would say about 1.5 meters would be the average length. Of course, I mean, it does grow as they grow. It starts off quite short when they're young, and the youngsters have got no idea of how to control their trunk. It's a very complex tool. Imagine if our nose was much longer and we could point it in different directions. We could suck water up into it and then blow it into our mouths. That's how they drink. And also use it to help us feed. And I guess what's also important to remember about the length of a trunk is it can vary, because it can be extended and it can be curled up. But on average, an elephant's trunk is always just long enough to reach the ground without extending it. As you can see, it's turned out to be quite a windy day here. Definitely other prey animals, like the Impala you were looking at earlier with Tayla, they're going to be very nervous in these windy conditions, because it provides a good grass is moving, like you can see it moving now. But like I say, elephants don't have too many enemies, although in some parts of Africa, very large prides of lion do hunt elephants, which is quite something. This one seems to be missing one of its teeth. And who knows whether that tusk broke off or if it was simply born with only one. Hi, Gally. You would like to know, what do the elephants use these very big ears for? And it's not for hearing. And if you think of the way our ears are shaped, they're cupped like a little satellite dish. And that's to help capture the sound waves and then force them down our ear hole. The elephant's ear holes are on the front end of those flaps and not behind the flap. But you can see the ear is very flat. It doesn't create a cup or a satellite shape, which means it's not for hearing, but it's actually for cooling down. And because elephants need to feed on so much every day, Gally, they often have to feed in the hotter parts of the day when the other animals can be sleeping. And how they use those ears to keep cool is they have lots of veins, very, very thick veins, some as thick as a hose pipe, that help to transport blood from their body into their ears. And because there's so much wind blowing against those ears, whether it's a windy day like this or the elephants have to fan their ears like it's kind of doing now, it helps to cool the blood down. So it's their cooling system. So very interesting animals. A long nose that's used to help them get their food by smelling it and then picking it up like you can see it doing now. And then massive ears that actually don't even help their hearing, but rather their cooling. Hello, Mike. You'd like to know how long will elephants sleep for on average? And I've been told it's about 8 hours a day that an elephant likes to sleep. But what we need to remember is that lots of the wild animals out here don't sleep quite the same as we do. They always have to have kind of one eye open, and a lot of the four-legged animals can actually sleep while they're standing up. But usually what I've noticed with elephants is that they like to have kind of 2 or 3 snoozes a day, maybe one in the daytime and one in the middle of the night, but they definitely don't have a set routine like we do, and that's the same for all the animals. Even though lions will usually sleep during the day and usually move more at night, that's not to say they won't spend a whole day out on the move and sleep one night. It all depends on what options Mother Nature has given them. If there's lots of food around, if there's any other problems, possible other enemies coming into the area. So the main thing to remember when thinking of, or when asking any questions about wild animals, is that there are always exceptions to the rule, and they definitely don't live a life with as much routine as we do. Very, very good. Duran, you'd like to know how many kilograms will elephants eat at any one time? And interestingly, they usually snack throughout the day. So whenever elephants are moving, they are feeding. They are permanently eating. And on average, a big elephant, a big female elephant, will eat about 100 kilograms of food every day. So the figure that they use to work out the rough idea is 4% of their total body weight. So if a female weighs 4 tons, 4% would be 100 kilograms. Which is a ginormous salad. And it does vary from the times of the year what they like to feed on. They're quite fussy, actually, elephants, and they will try and find whatever is the most nutritious, tasty food at any given time of the year. Hello, Matar. You would like to know how long will these elephants live for? And one of the animals that live for the longest out here, they can live for about 60 years. So a very, very long time. And And wouldn't it be incredible to be able to hear the stories of an elephant from all of its traveling, what it's got up to, what it's seen over that length of time. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful having all of the kids from Reem's school in Israel with us. I wish that Safari Live was happening when I was in school, and also that I had a teacher that would allow us to watch it. So thank you very much for joining, and thanks for sending through all your wonderful questions. I hope you guys continue to follow us on these live safaris. We'll see you next time.